Yo, what up, Street Talks? There, Kim. All right, the thought. You got to keep it moving. So, one of the things that I learned from my best friend Jay-Z, right, is like, you got to keep it moving, right? So, perhaps the secret to life in general is actually very simple. Just keep it moving. So the thing, so for example, one of the things I hate the most is seeing a parked car. It's like so much potential being wasted, right? Like even Elon Musk had a great vision where, I mean, ideally in the near future, right? Like when instead of just keeping your Tesla parked, right? It self-drives itself around and then acts as an autonomous taxi service for folks, right? And this is actually where I'm all about the the quote sharing economy or whatever, is that it's much more of an effective utilization of things rather than just letting it stay put by itself. So for example, to me, owning your own car doesn't really make sense if you have the opportunity to just take an Uber everywhere, right? You have to deal with parking and all this other stuff too. And also, I prefer being able to go to the gym and pay either a membership or pay as I go. Like even here in Phnom Penh, I have like a day pass, like $10, and every time I go I just pay $10. Much easier and better than buying the equipment yourself, because if I wanted enough weights to do my 550-pound deadlift or squat, it cost me mucho dinero. Much easier to just pay as I go. Anyways, and also some thoughts I had too about life in general, where paradise is a trap, paradise is a prison. And even I found some places which I consider perfect, like for example, Roma Norte neighborhood in Mexico City, here Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Saigon and Hanoi are perfect in my eyes and stuff like that. And the problem with perfect is a trap, and it causes you to stay stagnant. And also another terrible thought I had too was, if you want to Matrix 4, right? You don't want to be the guy in the glass tower. Even if you're a quadrillionaire with the world's nicest view, top floor of a skyscraper, all glass ceiling, the greatest joy is actually being here on the ground, and being able to traverse around, and even like having the freedom of movement. Like one of the things I'm grateful for being an American, at least, is the American passport is much easier to navigate and travel around the world than other types of passports. And so as a consequence, that's one thing I'm grateful for my dad and my mom for immigrating to the States and having me there. And so essentially what I want is I don't want my movement being restricted, and having open access to anything is actually what I love the most. And also with almost anything in life, right? The goal, okay, so a lot of people think of success like a binary, right? You're either successful or you're unsuccessful. My thought is success shouldn't even be a concept. Rather, a better concept is just advancement and movement. So as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep doing stuff, I mean, consider yourself quote successful. And so for me, even having the energy and the zest and the vigor to walk to the gym, to think, to talk, to share, and to keep doing stuff is, to me, the ultimate ultimate goal and also the ultimate reward. And so for me, the virtuosity comes from the movement and keep innovating rather than staying stagnant, because stagnation is because essentially stagnation to me is death. Like, even if you're worth $1.3 billion, right? Either if you're not accumulating more money, trying to shoot for the $2 billion, the $10 billion, the $100 billion, whatever, essentially stagnation is death, right? Like, even if you're the world's greatest redwood tree, you still want to keep growing and becoming more ascendant, you know, gaining more nutrition and putting down deeper roots. Even the bodybuilder, powerlifter, whatever fitness person you are, what we're always chasing is we're searching for the next high, the next maximum, and that's what actually we love the most, not actually the goal in itself. So even if you had, you know, the world's best Lamborghini, right, or whatever, you know, you're probably gonna want the new Bugatti, right? You want the new Bugatti Mistral, whatever new thing comes out. I feel bad for all those guys who bought the Urus too early. Now the Urus Performante came out, right? It's like, what are you gonna do with your old Urus? Are you just gonna sell it and then buy the performance version, or are you gonna try to find the carbon fiber panels and do it yourself? So anyways, being stuck with anything kind of sucks, even if you had a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or whatever. There's more of a joy in a dynamic change, advancement and growth or whatever, than just staying static. So yeah, for example, there's this new video game called Midnight Tune, or Initial D, when I used to have in high school. There's a joy in upgrading yourself, upgrading your parts, feeling some sort of advancement. And so even in some ways, I bet you there's probably more joy of the kid with his, you know, $1,500 older model Japanese car, constantly upgrading with new parts and stuff, than the joy of the guy who already has the brand new Lamborghini, right? And even something I realized as a kid, you know, I had my dream car actually in high school was getting a B13 1991 to 1993 Sentra SER. That's our 20D engine, 2-liter, 140 horsepower crank, 5-speed coupe, 2-door, 5-seater. And then, you know, in high school I was able to get my dream car, which is great, right? I paid either $1,500 or $2,000, I forget what. And for me, the greatest joy was actually upgrading it, right? Like getting the new intake, header, exhaust, swapping out the parts and upgrading it. And even though there's some other kids in school who had like a brand new Subaru STI, I had zero interest because I had more joy and pride in upgrading my things myself rather than, and also building it myself and doing most of the labor myself rather than having somebody else do it. And so I think that's actually one of the good things about modding culture and tuning culture, is that you could actually, you have more power, right? So for example, probably more joy, you know, upgrading and customizing and building your own PC than buying the brandest, newest Apple product straight up. You know, more fun to build your own computer or just upgrade the graphics card or whatever, or upgrade the RAM, than to just, you know, just buy one thing one shot and then not being able to do anything with it. I think that's also why people like the idea of DSLRs and interchangeable lenses. They like the idea that you could, you know, keep upgrading your lenses or whatever, even though the body is pretty static. And I also think that for me, the reason why I like, you know, traveling, seeing the world, being nomadic, whatever, is whenever I go to a new place, a new city, a new environment, it actually gives me the opportunity to have to grow, have to evolve, have to adapt discover new ways of doing things. And I kind of like it too, because like, you know, even being here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, in Asia, right? Everyone uses kilograms, they don't use pounds, right? And divorcing myself just from the standard pound standard system and using the metric system instead has actually been very good for me, because it makes me think in new ways, and I am no longer intimidated or scared from the numbers themselves, right? And as a consequence, I'm able to exceed myself. So for example, like in the States, right, you got the plates of 4 plates, 5 plates, 6 plates, whatever, and each of the plates is 45 pounds, usually red. And you kind of get stuck in that mode of thinking, whereas here the plates are 25 kilograms, which is what, like 50.2 pounds, 52 pounds, whatever. And because I don't know what the kilograms in the back of my head, I'm less scared or less afraid and less hesitant, and therefore it allows me to be more carte blanche, risk loving. And I think the dilemma of the digital nomad or the traveler or the abroad person, whatever, is how long should one stay in a certain spot before one needs to keep moving on. I mean, I like the idea of being semi-nomadic. Like if you're always traveling and on the road, and every 2 days you're going to a new city, you're probably not going to grow, because there's not enough opportunity to grow in Germany and put down, like, you want semi-roots, right? So for example, even being here in Phnom Penh, I think maybe we're here total for like 2 months ish. That actually seemed pretty good, right? Like, even if I stayed a full year here, I'd be pretty happy. Maybe the 2-year mark I might get a little bit bored. So if you have the option, maybe what it makes sense then is to live somewhere for a good chunk of time, and then once you're bored, then move on, right? So however long that is for you, depends. So maybe if you have the option to live abroad, I would say maybe like a good standard measure is maybe 2 years in one spot. Seems like kind of a good idea. Like even Vietnam, we're there for like a year and a half maybe. I'm like, I could have spent 2 years in Vietnam, I'd be happy. Spent like 6 months in Japan, 8 months. Could have spent some more time. So maybe think semi-nomadic as a way to keep moving and keep innovating.